improvement plan for hearing. As you know, these hearings are organized to give the public some insight as to what each agency and department what their vision is for capital improvements for their agency over the next 5 years. We would ask that you all go line by line through your capital requests, give us some description about the importance of each one to your operation, to your facilities, and discuss a bit about how these are prioritized and why they are prioritized the way they are. And we leave a little room for discussion, for questions, and of course, if anyone from the public attends the meeting. And if we could go around the room for introductions. I'm Larry Massey, the Deputy Director of City Planning Commission.
Vince Smith, Director of Capital Projects.
Ellen Regenstein, Project Manager, Capital Projects.
Rob Kasich, Judicial Administrator, Police Parish Criminal District Court.
Robin Pittman, serving as Chief Judge of Parish Criminal District Court. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of start off with a summary, which is also one of our new requests for this year. And the court is requesting to seek proposals from qualified firms to provide an IP-based video surveillance system and network throughout the entire courthouse, which would include interior and exterior levels of building, including all points of access, basement, public hallways, and stairwells. And this would include, but is not limited to, providing camera and network maintenance, camera and network extension design, i.e. cameras and network equipment installation, configuration, testing, all associated video surveillance equipment, again, which would include the servers, storage, cameras, housing, software, network infrastructure, cabling, wiring, and point-to-point and access points. And so again, as we mentioned before, a lot of our requests are requests that we've made annually. And so Mr. Kasich has brought some blown up photographs to kind of go through the list of things that we need, and we're going to try to prioritize those for the committee.
There's no photographs for this particular.
Yes.
So, we have 3 levels of the courthouse. Ground level courthouse, which has public access, private access, I shouldn't say public access, but there's a pedestrian entrance for ADA that meets ADA employees and jury entrance, and then we have 3 automobile entrances as well. There's no, I hate to say this on camera, but there's no security down there. So we wanted to add security to allow, we having some issues with our garage doors now. We've been working with property management to correct these issues, but it's the system has to be upgraded. So to get the upgrade, that would be a part of this project as well, to get those point-to-point assigned to someone who can see when those garage doors are left open. We're able to close them remotely as well.
And if I could just add this, as Mr. Kasich indicated, we have jurors coming in there on a daily basis. And so, although we're not calling it public access per se, it is. Because these jurors are coming in where the judges particularly park. And that is concerning to us for safety reasons.
We have 6 courtrooms on our first floor, along with our main public entrance. And then we have 7 courtrooms on the second floor, which is the grand hall. So we're looking to have the whole courthouse outfitted, interior and exterior perimeter of the courthouse as well.
And would some of these replace existing cameras, or are there?
So they're the only cameras that we have, and we could talk about it privately if you don't mind, but those would be replaced. There was a few cameras that are footed through the basement of the interior of the courthouse.
Okay.
Where'd you get the number from?
I worked with our project manager from Capital Projects to get these numbers. This was a request. It was the first year we requested this particular line was last year, and then this is our second year of including it in our request.
And it was presumed wireless, not wired.
Wireless.
Yeah, wireless at this number. It would be considerable. Yes, it would be a big difference.
Okay.
Terry, how would you do this? Will you leave these with the later, or you want to show them now? I'll let you leave it with that now. And then page 2. That's just some samples.
The jury deliberation room, which is request number 2. So again, the existing jury deliberation rooms and the associated spaces are all in a manner of disrepair. Most are original to the building, and years have passed since any renovations and repairs have been made within these deliberation rooms. And hopefully these pictures can help to exemplify the issues. And so there's damage from numerous incidents of water infiltration, including this weekend. I had some damage in my jury room, and so it's causing mold, termite infestation. These things have just gone unrepaired, and so carpet is worn, plaster is crumbling, the restroom facilities are aged and have continued plumbing issues. And again, if we're gonna ask members of this community to abide by their jury summons, we should at least make sure that these rooms are, I guess I'll say, livable for the amount of times that they're there. At least a jury trial is going to last at a minimum an entire day, but there are times where they can go at least 7 days to a full 2 weeks. And so that's why I say livable, because it's almost as if they live there during the duration of the jury trial that they've been selected to serve on.
No, Larry, I appreciate that. You came by for a visit. Was it early last year? Or?
I think it was during last year's process.
Yeah.
Or the year before.
So you kind of have an idea of what we're looking at. We have 5 original courts that are original to the building. Those are up a 3rd level. Once you get to the 2nd floor, there's 2 staircases you have to climb to get to those deliberation rooms. Those are pretty much the worst of the worst. I mean, those are in the most disrepair. Some property management was able to do a little cosmetic to one of the courtrooms. But until we get the wing retrofit project addressed, the water is still coming in through the stonework of the building and penetrating the inside of those stairwells and deliberation rooms. I mean, Ellen can tell you, water infiltration is our biggest enemy of the court. And we just can't, we have 3 broken pipes, sewer pipes in the basement right now that they're, the cast iron pipes are cracking and they're splitting, so they gotta cut those pieces out. We have 3 that they're working on, matter of fact, 1 today, and they're coming back next week to do the other 2.
So they're working on that?
They are, but those are unrelated. I'm just, it's just water's a constant battle. It's just a constant battle that we try to stay on top of. As Pittman just stated, she had a drain pipe in her 3rd floor deliberation. Now, she has one of the newer courtrooms. So we have 5 original jury rooms that are original to the building. 2 courtrooms that were added in the 70s and 2 courtrooms that were added in the 80s, and then 2 courtrooms that were added just recently, 2000. That's 2021 that they were completed. So we're not asking for repairs for those 2 courtrooms, but we are asking for upgrades in the rest of the courtrooms. This is, it's always hard to prioritize these reports because obviously I think all 7 of them are number 1s, but we can't give 7 number 1s. So there was a little lipstick put on one of the courtrooms recently, but the water is already infiltrating what they just painted less than 6 months ago. So we fixed the inside, but we didn't fix the outside. And maybe Ellen will speak on that at the end of, you want to do it now or you want to speak on it?
The issue is the masonry. It was thought for years to do the roof. We were to fix the roof. They still have water coming in. Yes, we're looking at a project to replace the windows, but even that won't stop the water infiltration. There are cracks in the exposed masonry, the masonry that you see, as well as some that you could only be on the roof to see. And those are the biggest. They're just really long visible cracks in the brick. It's brick masonry there. It's not the finished beautiful stone masonry that's covered with discoloration, but that's part of the project as well. So that project is held up in FEMA review and some budget shortfalls with rising Excel acceleration costs. We literally today, both of us have been on the phone trying to move that forward. It's just been a perpetual loop. So it's been in a loop. We hope to move forward.
We had a FEMA person today with property management looking at some space from Hurricane Ida, not Isaac, but Ida, and they were using the conference room, and the conversation didn't go well. And there was a lot of back and forth going on in that room, so I can appreciate what you're saying right now.
And so the kind of hardening of the building or repair of the building would happen under the FEMA scope
Yes.
fully, and then this would come behind that and repair.
It is a FEMA hazard mitigation project, and it requires it's a 75% federal funded project and requiring a match of 25%. So the majority is federal. We do have to, and we have.
Is the match within this cost, or is that already?
No, this is totally separate. This is not FEMA covered at all.
I guess while we're still under deliberation, Vince, I know that you and I had this conversation a couple of months ago, but we were promised some money at the last city council meeting, and I'm not sure what happened, why it didn't get related to capital projects or property management. I'm not sure who the proper person was, but apparently you said you think you located 1.2, but then that might be an issue too.
Well, no funding was appropriated. I don't know, I was not in the conversation with the council regarding committee funds. We haven't appropriated money since the 2021 bond sale, which, the funding from that bond sale was appropriated by the council previous to this one. So we have yet to.
The city council is the one who made the promise.
Right. So we have yet to be in a position, and we're trying to get there where, we've got money that this council can designate. We are working on having a bond sale, hopefully at the end of this year, to put funding in place. And you guys are fully aware of the issues we're having with OJC, projects coming in over budget. Right now we're having to look at projects to reallocate funding from, so that we can cover the gap on the OJC project, which is, by federal decree. So
Vince, let me ask this, so your office did get the information of what the current council has allocated for a criminal court?
well, not allocated, no funding. We got the directive that money was promised to you guys, but that's not promise is not an appropriation. I would say that given the commitment they made, of course, it's going to be a priority as we're looking at appropriating money. So
And I guess I'm asking so that I can have a clear understanding, because in a couple of days, we are gonna appear before the city council again for our budget hearing.
yes,
And I would like to speak on it if I'm in fact asked, particularly to kind of let them know where we stand, because we went before the council asking that this be a priority again. I wanted a very hard push for the citizens of this community to come down and serve for jury duty. And I feel like we're somewhat in the same position as we were last year with some of the same issues, where again, I don't think some of these rooms are livable, right, for jurors. And so I just want to be able to speak on this, because I feel like nothing has changed since the last time I went before the council.
well, once again, as director of capital projects and the person responsible for building projects, and I have to constantly remind not only the public but my fellow directors that capital projects build projects that are funded through the capital program. So at this point, funding has not been appropriated in the capital program.
So Vince, jumping ahead, if the council does locate this 1.2, I think it's the number that you may have heard, Is that enough to get started on something? And what would be the game plan of timeline on?
Well, you know, of course, Rob, we're gonna have to go through design, you know, we're gonna have to go through the design phase.
So can we piece it instead of doing, you know, what I think it's 8 sections, could we
We
carve it
certainly
out
could.
into
I mean,
4?
yeah, you know, if you
Like
got,
some of
if
the
you
work.
prioritize the courtrooms and you have some of them more critical than others that you wanna address first, we can certainly.
The ones that need addressed first, I think we can't do it until after Ellen does the, you know, the main hardening of the building, but maybe the ones that aren't having water infiltration, if we could focus on those sections of
Okay.
work. I mean, Judge Pitten's is a different, hers is I
Right.
think just a roof issue that might be leaking. I don't think it's water infiltration from the walls. I think it's a broken, something in the ceiling, maybe, the roof.
Okay.
And maybe if we can, you know, focus on the ones that we can focus on without the hardening project.
And just so you know though, I know we may come here year after year, making some of these requests, but it's not just us. You know, we have to hear from the jurors about the deterioration of some of the rooms that they're in.
Mhm.
We have to hear from the jurors about the restrooms. And so as much and as long as they impress upon us about the conditions of where they're serving or where they're having to go to deliberate and where they are when we have to take the jurors out of the courtroom, that's how much we have to impress upon you guys, because again, you know, they don't get paid much of anything to do this, but it's something that we require of them as a member of the community, and I just think it's only fair that we try to make those conditions better for them if this is something we're asking them to do. So I just want to impress that it's not just us, we're getting it from the jurors themselves.
Yeah, no, understand. Rob, if you could do this, let's maybe do a two-stage approach. If you could get with Ellen and, you know, let's do, if you've got some immediate, you know, things that you would like to prioritize, you know, keeping in mind, of course, we've got to engage the hardening project, the timetable for that. You know, have a conversation with Ellen so that we can just look at everything and considering the timetable, considering your immediate priorities, considering the overall renovations of the jewelry rooms, come up with some kind of strategy, you know, that maybe we can engage, you know, going forward to get things started.
You know, one of the other main concerns is obviously health-wise. I mean, you know, these courtrooms are, you have water, the next thing you have is mold. And,
Yeah.
You know, we got the plaster, we gotta get the cleaning people to come in every morning to clean the staircases because the plaster's falling off in chunks. It's not just a dust coating, it's chunks of plaster that we gotta pick up every morning.
Yeah, understand.
And it's just so I understand, by appropriating, the council would need to, like, amend bond funding into the capital budget.
Yeah.
I think we're ready to move on to the
All right,
next.
so request number 3. Well, I guess any other questions on request number 2, which was the jury deliberation, anything else? All right. And you know, I could talk about that all day long if I needed to. Okay, so request number 3 is the Grand Hall, the HV system. And so we are asking to install an air-cooled 30-ton chiller with 3 air handling units at each end and in the middle of the Grand Hall. Install ceiling mounted RAs at each location, a condensing unit and 2 chilled water supply and return pumps with a condenser water pump. So if you think it is hot outside on any given day, it is the exact same way in the Grand Hallway. So you have, once again, jurors have to be brought up from the jury room. They are lined up in this really hot Grand Hallway until they are walked into into a respective courtroom. In addition, you just have other members of the community. It feels like there's absolutely no ventilation whatsoever. It's as hot as it is outside, it's as hot as it is in the grand hall. It's unbearable, guys, it's unbearable. So we're hoping that we can, control this humidity that's in the grand hallway by having a system.
I know you've heard this a couple of times. It's been on, I think, the last 8 that I've been the administrator. But the windows, I know Ellison talked about that too. The windows are all going to be replacement as well. They'll be hardened, how you
In the grand hall, they're retooled. They are so massive and so substantial that replication is not realistic. So they refit, replace the glazing, refit the fittings, if you will, to bring the window down to 100.
So most of the windows aren't operable. We can't open most of the windows. So this will.
There's a small panel in some of the really large ones, and there's a security issue when some of those are opened, primarily on the first floor when cell phones have been, which are not allowed.
Or handguns. You can talk about phones, but
Right.
Or any other
sure.
object that could,
Contraband.
yeah, could
Security
be used as a
issues,
weapon.
weapons, etc. can be handed. It's harder to do on the top floor, but still good.
Right.
And then, since we're on number 3 about the Grand Hall, number 6 is also the restoration of the Grand Hall. And they kind of go hand in hand, but obviously it's kind of to the back of it. We got to get this done before we can do that.
So this picture right here, I mean, I know kind of moved on, but this is what it looks like. This is the plaster that's falling. So you may arrive at the courthouse and this white stuff is like from one end of the hallway all the way to the next. So you gotta hurry up and get the cleanup crew to come and pick all of that up before the massive amount of people starts to enter the building.
To Katrina, we did do air quality testing, and it was determined that a lot of this is like basement as well. So it's got to be treated a little bit differently than just going in there.
Did we do some remediation there?
First floor, the first floor was all re-plastered and painted,
And the lead paint was that they did.
Yeah. Just another question as I'm looking at your request. And let's just look at the HVAC system. This is, I'm noticing, you're not doing a design build breakout of your costs and reporting all of your costs into, year 1. Is there any reason for that? Especially given, our it typically takes us, 3 months to get a designer on board if we need one. Then you've got whatever that design period is going to be. And then we've got, a 3-month procurement process. So before we get to construction, we literally
There's
have
easily a lag of
a
a year
year,
for 90% of the time.
Oh, wow.
a year's worth of front end stuff that has to be done. So, especially given if any of these installations are contingent on us getting that HMP project done, this is.
And if I may, what he's getting at is breaking up the request into a design portion and a construction portion may help to get it on
To get it moving.
to get it funded, at least the design effort funded, and then the construction follow. That's what.
So that's probably too late to do this time, so would that for the next project?
No, do it now. It's not too late.
So in round numbers, we take 10% and put that into design, because that's a good average.
So you want us to break it up into design and what else?
Construction costs.
Okay, construction.
Is that right?
Yeah,
That's what we do with you, and we just didn't do that on this one, but that's something we can help with.
So that's 2 separate requests then, is that what you're telling me?
No, it's the same with one of the same, you're doing your 5-year plan.
Okay.
So the only thing that's going to change is the distribution of funds. Everything stays the same except, I'm looking at, where it has you, lay out how you want the funding allocated. Do your 2090 or your 1090 split, 10 in 2024 and 90 in 2025. It's easier to get $500,000 than to get $5 million. And then if you got plans in hand, you can come back and say, hey, I've got a project that's ready to go. So if I'm looking at a project that is starting from ground zero, and a project that has plans in hand ready to go, the plans in hand will be more favorable.
Okay. All right, and so we're moving on to request number 4. Again, we asked for this annually. Jury parking lot security, fencing and a security gate. I think Rob has. Again, we always think these pictures give you a better idea of what we're talking about. And so I think these are the same, right?
This is going in, this is coming out.
Yeah.
This is overall.
And that's broad and graphic.
And then this is probably
That's
on
the
white.
second one. Yeah.
So on this
Or
first
against
one,
our white. So you see that that's the just the return is off.
Now, are you looking at some kind of decorative wrought iron type fence?
that's what I was thinking. I'm not sure, years ago, I've been here 35 years, and this was always our parking lot. But as you ride along, you can see these pilings that are in the ground, so it's like a roller coaster riding over parking lot. But we've had a few break-ins recently, obviously like everyone else, but
Jurors, cars, particularly.
the biggest thing is that there's no access gates like you have out here.
Right.
So we have to have a man on the lot in the mornings, which takes him away from building security because we have them just to reserve this lot. Cars are left over the weekend.
And then in addition to that, so as I explained, you can never really put a time limit on a jury trial. So we could be there till 11 p.m. or later, and we don't have that kind of manpower for somebody to sit there and watch these gates. And so it's already bad enough that we have to kind of convince them to come and serve for jury duty, and then what tops it off is they walk out to their car and the car has been burglarized. Windows are smashed. So again, all in an effort to try and provide safer spaces for not just our staff, but our jurors and any other visitors at criminal district court. All right, you guys have any other questions for that?
No.
Okay, so, all right, so similarly, that's right. So similarly, request 5, courthouse security with perimeter fencing. Same thing. We've asked for this before, I think. And I'm trying to think. I think, but right next door, right? Don't they have fencing around Civil District Court? Isn't it right?
They do, like,
Well, around
kind
just
of
the parking.
They
courtyard
got
and parking.
Yeah, but not
So-
the building.
Is it your front is city hall? No,
It's partially, the
It's
parking around Civil is
just
partially
driveway.
fenced.
That's kind of what I thought.
Some of it's gated with no fence and some of it's fenced. The part that you would look at it and it appears common to City Hall and Civil District Court, that's fenced.
But they've got the public entrance on Leola, right? Don't they have a public entrance on Leola?
We were kind of looking at kind of same thing Supreme Court has, just a wrought iron fence. We were kind of hoping to get 2 security stations out front, buildings out front, to get security before you enter the building, is what we envision.
So we're not trying to take away your weapon once you're already in the building. We're trying to get you before you get into the building. And people always question that, but it happens. You have people saying, "Oh, I didn't realize I had my weapon in my purse, or switch purses." Again, it is a very big safety hazard for everybody. And so if we could have this fencing and have these areas where individuals could be checked prior to entering the building, we know that would provide for a safer environment for everybody. And so we're going to request number 6. Again, similar to what we mentioned in an earlier request for the grand hallway restoration. And I think Rob has already shown you the boards. We're just hoping to restore the historic vaulted ceilings and walls caused by moisture and the high humidity levels. Again, if we could get that AC in the hallways, that could kind of prevent some of this. Restoration and conservation of the failing plaster, as I mentioned before. We're hoping to be able to repaint the ceilings and the walls. And we're hoping that this is a project that could be performed with little interruptions to the daily operations of the criminal justice system. As you guys know, we're open Monday through Friday. Every blue moon, you may have a trial continuing to a Saturday or a Sunday, but luckily we haven't seen that. I don't think we've seen that this year.
We do have magistrate court.
Yeah. Well, no, I just meant the trials. Meaning that we bringing in others, and then we have magistrate court, which y'all know is 24/7, weekends and holidays. So it's really like the building never really shuts down. But again, we're willing to work with whoever would be the contractor to get this done with little to no interruptions.
And I know you guys see my face here several years, but I'm at that courthouse longer than I've been not at the courthouse. I'm there 35 years. So it's really passionate to me, but it was an honor to see the first floor get restored, and it would be great to get that second floor. We had artwork on that wall. We had a beautiful historic clock, the beautiful chandeliers. We had some money in a renovation account that we used to refurbish, re-gold gild, and re-etch the glass. Did a couple of glass panels broken. We were able to get those restored. And, if we can get that hallway done within the next 5 years, that'd be great.
And if I could just add this, I think I'm correct in saying this. I believe that there are more courtrooms on the second floor than the first floor. And that's why it's so important to us, because the majority of the people spend the most time on the second floor. In fact, it's an honor to have a courtroom on the second floor, because that is, like I said, the most visited floor, the second, because of the amount of
It's just breathtaking. It's, I say this all the time, it's one of the most beautiful buildings in the city. You gotta maintain it.
All right.
And the assessment that found that red-based paint was used?
It was through the city. I want to say it was Dr. White, I think. Lowe, I'm sorry. Judge White ordered with Dr. Lowe, that's correct.
And do you know when that was performed?
Was it?
Was she the chief judge at the time?
Well, we had it done immediately after Katrina, because Judge Parker was the chief at the time it was done. And then I want to say, did we do the second floor for the first floor? Did we only check the air quality on the first floor?
Air quality,
Lead paint. No, I thought it was air quality testing, and they also.
So we have ongoing, testing by Dr. Lowe at different periods of time, and, to my knowledge, there hasn't been lead-based testing done in the 11 years that I believe that predated my coming on. It was always a known thing that there was lead-based paint when I joined. And we had the 2 courtroom projects.
So that wasn't lead, that was just air. We had the machines in the hallway that were little vacuum pump machines.
That was during construction.
Right.
Yeah.
That wasn't lead.
That's not when they do testing. I have to check my facts, whether, I think that was for, other contaminant. And we usually,
Maybe it was asbestos.
we usually do use the A word. So, we usually do the air quality testing when it's asbestos based.
All right, so our last request, which I think might be our first time requesting this from you guys for this project, which is elevator upgrade. So as big as our building is, we have 6 elevators located throughout the courthouse, and we're asking to update those, including the replacement and upgrades to the interior, exterior, and mechanics of all 6 of those elevators. So 3 of the elevators are like a part of the main public portion of the courthouse, and then and there are two elevators that are somewhat private individual elevators that go, like, so elevator number 5 would go to 2 different courtrooms. Elevator number 6 would go to 2 different courtrooms.
Different levels.
Yeah. It take you from the garage level to the first floor, and then the other set of judges from the garage level to the second floor. Neither of them go to the third floor.
Yours does.
Didn't know that. Okay, so one of them goes to the third floor, and
that separation is strategic, so, the members of the public and the judges are not in the same elevator going up to work.
Well, those 4.
just those 4.
The other ones
Now, if I could really give y'all my
That's
wish
the
list,
intent, is to separate.
if I could really give you my wish list, everybody needs their own elevator. You guys just don't know. You are on the elevator with defendants who are appearing before you, their family members and friends. Because of certain requirements at the entrance, such as maybe removing your belts or removing things like that. A judge will find him or herself on the elevator with a defendant who has unbuttoned and unzipped his pants to try to tuck his shirt in. But I can't impress upon you how difficult this is for us. We don't have the right to say, or necessarily the security to back you up on this, to say, like, sir, I'm a judge, could you get off the elevator? We can't do those things. So it's a very unsafe situation. And again, that may be a story for another day. So we're asking for some funding to update those 6 elevators. And I don't know if you want to go into further detail. I know you had the pictures for them to blow up.
Besides the appearance, the number of times they break down.
Yeah, I mean, you can check the capital project, they have logs on it. I mean, that people who get stuck in them is constant.
Yes, that's okay.
There's a private elevator that goes from the basement to my office to a storage room, and I was in there for 4 hours while they came in, got a machine to get us out, extricate us out the elevators.
4
4 hours on Friday.
I remember on Friday because I remember trying to wait it out with you, and then at a certain point I was like, Mr. Kasich, I have to go. I hated to do it, but
They jumped in ship on me.
I did. You and Joe.
Previous appointment.
I tried to wait it out. I really did.
So we gave me a pack of Skittles and told me have a nice weekend. Hope to see you Monday.
Threw it in through the roof.
So, what all jokes aside, luckily, it hasn't been to the point where it's been a member of the community where, they could possibly file a lawsuit depending on what health issues they could have. I mean, 4 hours was absolutely too much on Mr. Kasich, but imagine if it was someone who had some kind of medical or health issues. And so that's why we need some serious upgrades, guys. We really do.
And then, obviously, the elevators are gorgeous. I hate to keep bragging about this building. You can see the detail, ornamental detail in these doors. Yeah. And we just got to save them.
And so that's indoor. That's outdoor.
Right.
That's what it looks like when you're inside of it. Yeah. You can see the detail. Like he has all 3 of them. This is what they look like.
All those details, I love it. This is the first floor. This is the second floor. And then this is the interior of them. The laminate. This was remodeled, I want to say.
I know you can see that this appears to be different.
Yeah, I think it was 30 years ago, 1993. We did the pulley system, but this is laminate. That's just you can just see the condition. We had the floors done. We had a little extra. They were doing some work, and we were able to just at least get the floors were broken, and we put this faux marble laminate floor down.
That's over here. That doesn't work right.
It's missing. It's a phone, but there's no phone in there, right? And there's no call button. Yeah, there's no call.
So please at least get us the phone.
Yeah, there's no.
So someone who is, I'm gonna just say a visitor, you are not allowed to come in the building with your phone. Right. You get stuck in the elevator.
Right. There's no communication at all.
Okay, so
this is a person who can have a cell phone and could communicate with us that he's stuck in the elevator. But your average person, who's visiting won't have that capability.
So it's got a phone in it, it's just not operating the
It was
system.
got a phone box, and it used to have a brass plate, that matched, and the brass plate came off, so we don't have that. But you open it up, and there was a trim line phone in there, but now it's not even there.
Yeah, there's nothing, no means of communication.
And even your elevators will have phones.
No.
One of them.
Y'all don't hear me at City Hall, should I get stuck in mine? Rob was kind of calm and communicating over the phone, I'm gonna be screaming. Because that is, you know, a big, fear of mine, of being stuck there and no one would ever know because it's more of a private elevator, not a public. So nobody would hear me. I could knock, I could pick, I could do whatever, and no one would hear me. No means of communication.
I always like it said in the public record at each of these meetings that this is one of a very few of the city's holdings that is a listing on the National Registry of Historic Places. We have, I believe, one hand or less of number. We have the 8th District, we have the Grinnell District Court that's on the registry. It's a blessing and a curse. It's requires a lot more review to do to make accommodations, but it's also it's a historical asset to the country as well as the city.
And I'm sure, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
No.
I'm sure on the printout that you're looking at with the cost, we had estimated that the preliminary cost for each of the 6 elevators are estimated at $500,000. And again, we were hoping with these updates to include any ADA components as well. So you said
Yeah,
500?
I did.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I think what happened is the bottom line got updated for the acceleration, but not the entries and where the details. So we're going to check all that.
Okay.
Reconcile.
And Ellen and Rob, I would like you guys, this is a 5-year plan and you're asking for all of your money in year 1. So please go back, revisit your distribution.
Same thing, design.
Yeah, and I would almost even, because as we were talking, one of the things that caused our when retrofit project to go as long as it has been is we had to go through an environmental historic preservation review process, which
Is a 6-month thing.
yeah, so I think you need to be thinking more strategically. Yeah, I think you need to just go back and take another look, and Ellen help to just be more strategic in the thinking, considering all of the obstacles and the things that are involved. We gotta wait for the EHP process. The exterior project to be done. Okay, so if that's going to hinder any other work, okay, but maybe we need to push that out, and maybe do design.
So do that on all the projects, like the security
Years
perimeter and
ago,
all?
No, if you've got, in that sense, okay, you've got a project maybe that can have a straight shot. So you may want to put that one up front, but just be more strategic and in your thinking. And
So I take it's project by project. If there are other things that need to take place before our actual goal can be accomplished, you want us to kind of
right,
separate that out.
exactly.
There's a phasing aspect of work.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Like for example, in some of the jury rooms that may require retrofit with the windows and things of the sort. However, if the whole kitchen needs to be redone, maybe we can work on getting the kitchen redone. That doesn't affect any of the
Right,
windows in
right.
that courtroom.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Years ago, you all had it phased out. Not phased out. You had it distributed over years. But in the last several years, what I've heard is it's all a priority. And then we're uncomfortable with looking like some things were less of a priority to put it in a 4 years out.
Yeah.
So it lined up all the first, but let's figure it out.
And it, you know, it's a challenge on our end. I mean, I just did an analysis this weekend. We have over $2 billion worth of requests, capital budget requests, almost 200 projects. So, you know, we've got to limit it. We don't have a $2 billion bond sale. So it's just, you know, you're competing against other departments. So, you know, let's be as strategic as possible. And, you know, for me, as smart as possible in terms of, okay, what can I, like a design, build, breakout.
Practical.
Yeah, let's be strategic and practical in a way, you know, and combine that with, I mean, you're right, at this point, I mean, there are a lot of needs, legitimate needs. But we've gotta, you know, we've gotta use the, you know, the need element, needs to, enhance the strategic and practical approach.
Okay, well, if you guys don't have any other questions or comments or other input for us, we, on behalf of all the judges of Criminal District Court, we thank you for giving us the opportunity to make our presentation today. Again, I'll call it our wish list. We thank you for that. Again, Ellen, we'd like to acknowledge you for all of, you know, the assistance that you've provided to Criminal District Court over the years with this annual budget request and your continued dedication to helping us keep our historic Criminal District
Got a whole
Court
team on
kids.
your building now. We've got at least 3 project managers.
So we thank you for that. We want to continue to have it be considered as one of the gems of New Orleans. So, and guys, thank you so much, Vince, for at least advising us on how best we could make some changes to our presentation to try to get some of these things done right. And thank you for listening to all of our wish lists again and again.
No, I really appreciate you taking the time to come here and to present this.
Just so you know, I rushed everybody on the docket today so I could get here. So,
We had a backup date, Larry gave us a backup date in case.
yeah,
we were in
but
court,
I
yeah.
wanted to make it happen because that's how important it is to me. And seriously, I did handle my cases, but they were trying to linger to talk, and I said no, I have to go up here for this hearing, and you know, that was a priority to me. So again, thank you guys for the opportunity, and hopefully before next year we can pat ourselves on the back because a couple of these things on our wish list will get accomplished, hopefully. So thank you all.
Thank you. And just to let you all know, after, you know, we're holding these meetings with all departments, all agencies across the agencies that are submitting requests for capital funding. After that, we're going to prepare the plan. We plan to release that on September 6th, and then present it to our commission on September 13th. And from there, we submit the adopted plan to the mayor for consideration.
Okay. All right, well, again, if there's any questions for us based on our presentation before your plan is released, please feel free to reach out.
Well, if you guys could make the adjustment and get back to us this week.
And you all have always been really good to us. We visited the courthouse on 2 occasions, and
Available for no visits.
Yeah, you're always welcome to come back. I promise not to keep you in the hall.